Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is September the 17th, 2023 on the ancient moon calendar, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and according to the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this holy Congress. This is a sovereign, living, ancient Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the sovereign living justices and Ego Sum, Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminution nolo, in red ink, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capite et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal natural head and body for our empire. All Moors are the original indigenous, ancient, sovereign, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hamathites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We're ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate. We're the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court, and we are also the living United States, which are the ancient states united. Today, we are exercising the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, natural divine, sovereign ancient Article 3 living United States District for Columbia Court, and we're the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, ministers, possessors, and the title trustors for all causes for action. We are peace, we are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign ascension. We do hereby possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the one true God nation, are not at war, and we hereby exercise all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. The principles that we share are not our opinion. Along with our sovereign, powerful demonstrations and study, these processes that we share are based on principles of stare decisis, res judicata, ancient positive supreme law for the land long established in sovereign order. Erudite principles and processes for daily practical application to intelligently govern our vast estate every day is what our ancient ancestors have given us to share with the ancient sovereign nations, tribes, clans, states, and governments at earth. For this, we are grateful. First and foremost, let us state for those who are thinking about where we are as the nation, the state, the government, the empire. Let us give a quick update on where we are through these awarenesses that we've stated here. Awareness number one, and let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Just one moment so that you can see these awarenesses as well. Just one moment. Okay, and if you could in the chat, just let me know that you can see the screen. That would be helpful. Islam. Thank you. Okay. Awareness number one. We are stronger today than we have ever been. Than we have ever been. Ever, ever, ever. We are stronger today than we've ever been. And I'll just state it once more for the record. Because we endured, we are stronger today than we have ever been. Awareness number two. Our numbers are increasing exponentially every day. Thank you in the chat, the Moors that are stating that they see this as well, that this is clear. There are more of us awake than ever before. And for that, we're so grateful. Awareness number three, we're everywhere. There's no place that there's not Moors. Yes, indeed, indeed. Number four, we are manifesting our will almost instantly. From the time we speak it and put it on the public record, it manifests almost instantly nowadays. And we stated early, we're not the I told you so ones, but we did state earlier that things would speed up, and that as we continue to govern this way that we're doing, we've chosen the right way. This is the right way to do government. And we want to ensure that everyone is aware so that you watch what it is, what comes out of your mouth, because it will manifest. It will manifest. So be careful so that you only speak that which you will to speak. We, with the manifestation, we've abolished want and activated will. Babies want and want and want this and they want that, because they don't have the will to actually make it happen. So they want it, and then they ask for help. That's what babies do. They want a bottle because they can't will a bottle. Now, I don't know, these days our babies are coming out so much more mature that they're starting to will the bottle, and they'll go and get it for themselves. They won't make it for themselves, but they will get it for themselves. Want is a place of lack. When you want something, that means that you don't already have it. Everything is already ours. So to any questions about possession, we already have everything. All we're doing now is stating the process to obtain it using the systems that our ancient ancestors put in place. So everything is already ours. Possession, not a thing. We already possess everything. Now it's just a matter of continuing to do the legal processes that we set up. We put the legal processes on the public record, and then we honor them. An example of that we've done was with the mailing process. Okay. The mailing process, our government mailing process that we put on the public record, we put it on the public record. We stated that this is how we're going to do our mailings until we change it, until we decide to change it. And when we put that on the public record, knowing that we are the real postmasters, the system honored what we stated, because we were determined not to use fiat to do our government. And so with regard to, again, wanting is a place of lack. That means you see something and you think it's not yours. You think you don't have it, but you do. It's already yours. Now you just use your powers to make it come to you. You use your power, your authority to make it come to you, to govern it and have it come to you. So, with that being stated, this is where we are right now. Stronger, faster, larger, ever growing, ever manifesting. That is the state that we are at right now. That is who we are as the government, the nations, the state. And for those who may be new, we spell this way because this is ancient English, which has always been our language. We were speaking ancient English. Ancient English is language that we use that is governed by our intention and not by what someone else says the words mean. So therefore, we spell them the way we choose to spell them. We cast and break our spells the way we choose to. Islam. And that's just a brief explanation of ancient English. The spelling, however you choose to spell it, you'll be spelling it correctly. Islam. With that being stated, in furtherance of what we've stated thus far, remember that we've been stating the things that come from the ancient writings for many years. We've been stating these things already. We've been stating them in English, ancient English, in ancient Latin, in ancient Arabic, and all those things. One of the things that, as I was doing some study, and let me just first apologize to anyone who writes in Arabic that these letters are not as clear as we wanted them to be. The Arabic writing is not as clear. It's a little bit thick. And so we apologize for that in advance. One of the spells that we've cast repeatedly is found in Surah Al-Baqarah 2:117. The way we say it is, when we intend a thing, our command is be, and it is. And we generally state that in Turkish or Turk language, Turkmen language. And different ones give the Turk dialect different names, so to speak. But when we intend a thing, our command is be. And we say she because our government is matriarchal. This is a matriarchal era. And so when we say she, it encompasses all of us. Oldin Oldran, Unilid Mizit Imanga Doldran. That is how our Turk Moors state this particular proclamation. She is the originator of the heavens and the earth. When she decrees a matter, she simply tells it be, and it is. And so we've been in alignment with the writings, the ancient writings, this entire time. The writings that we've been looking at have been from a patriarchal era. They were written from a patriarchal era, and that's okay. We're not upset about that. Last era was enacted as a patriarchal era, and now it is our will to align properly with the natural order and govern accordingly. And again, what are we doing right now? All we're doing is stating the state of our nation, the state of our government, the state of the vast estate. This is where we are right now. When we intend a thing, our command is be, because we have originated our own everything. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:115 is yet another proclamation of the estate. We know that the word Allah is a feminine energy. And this is where we are. To Allah, to all law, to all of us belong the East and the West. So wherever you turn, you are facing towards Allah. So everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, including the mirror, when you look at your hands, when you look at your feet, when you look at your body, your face, you're facing Allah. Surely Allah is all-encompassing, all-knowing. Yes, indeed, Islam. And so as we go forth in all that we're doing, we will pull from everywhere. We'll pull from all of the holy books, all of the ancient writings. We'll restate them and align them with the empire, with the ancient empire. And our empire is, Allah is she, which is he, and the word he is found in she. And so we want to honor the he while being ourselves, Islam. Now, what we're doing now, as we enter into subject matter, as we begin to discuss the subject matter, we will open the meeting. In our last Congress, we looked at this definition, and the ancestors would not let that definition slip away without us doing something about it. And so if anyone has any statements or wisdom about what's on the screen at this time, just one moment, at this time, regarding the word obit, a funeral solemnity or office for the dead, an office for the dead. Initially, when I thought about what to place on the public record about the office for the dead, first I thought we'll just abolish the whole thing, and we'll present that and we'll vote on it and then just abolish it. But then the ancestors began to speak, as they always do, because our journey has been to do away with all that we see that we do not want on our land. However, for every principle that was beat up and misused and hijacked and hypothecated and subrogated from the last era, there is a part of that, when we put it on the right side and put the right energy on it, that there is a use for it. That includes everything. There is another side to the story, is really what it is. Islam, indeed, Empress Camille says she's been being dealt with about the word memorial. Where office for the dead is concerned, here's the thing. There are some who choose that route in order to go to a different place. And we're talking about the sovereigns now. There are some sovereigns who willed that into existence, spoke it onto the record, and then took that route. Okay? And then as the sleep enactment came, it then became something that we just lived with, so to speak, in the enactment. You know, they told the lie that there's two things in life that are sure. It's death and taxes. We say no, that's not true. Not for us and not for our nation, our state, our empire, and who we are. And so I was initially thinking that the title would be too much for some to take, and that we would deal with it before this recording of this Congressional Assembly started. But the ancestors have given me okay. They've given me, they are, I can't even say permitting or allowing, because whatever it is that we want, they want for us. But we are going to deal with it from a congressional standpoint on the office for the dead. We can get rid of it, but we have to put something in its place. Okay? That's going to change some things. It's going to change some things. It's going to change some things. And then there are some here who are thinking that it's impossible for us to get rid of the office for the dead, but it's not. In the last era, the closest resemblance to getting rid of the office for the dead was at funerals. Instead of mourning death, they would celebrate the life that whoever it was had lived. That was something that, you know, even at, and I'll just use my mother as an example. When my mother transitioned, everyone wore white instead of black. Everyone wore white. There was a large choir, and we all wore white, everyone. And we celebrated her life. So I am proposing for this Congress to vote that we get rid of the office for the dead, or office of the dead. And really it would be getting rid of the office of the dead, because we govern life and death always. The power of life and death is right here in our mouths, in our tongues, in our voices. And so Islam.
Just a quick question. The office of the dead, the obit that's referred to here, where does this show up in our sleep stage? Where was this and where is this previous office? And how is it expressed?
That is so beautiful. Thank you for that question, because it brings up what we were going to discuss anyway about that. So in the sleep state, the office for the dead was the coroner. That was the coroner. But when we look at the definition of the word coroner, it doesn't say that. It says crown. We crown our living. We crown at birth. But everything was flipped backwards. It was upside down. It was upside down, so that when we were born, there was an enactment of a death certificate being issued in the form of a dead birth certificate. A dead birth certificate and some other dead documents being issued And then we were in the enactment, we were declared dead at birth.
But is there any evidence that that came from the coroner's office? I thought that was all from the registrars and all of the other hands, not the coroners, per se.
Believe it or not, the coroner and the one registering the birth certificate, they have the same duties and the same title. But again, it was backwards. We were being declared dead at birth, and then in the enactment, when we died, the coroner, the crowner, the one who's supposed to put the crown on the head, said, no, they're dead. Now they're dead. They're twice dead instead of being born again. So the church had a lot to do with that also. Baptismal certificates and things of that nature. Those are documents for the dead in the last era, in that last enactment. Let's look. Yes, go ahead, nobility. Let's look at the definition of coroner as well.
Yeah. So in actuality, the Office of the Dead started in 1666 with the Section QV Trust then, or somewhere around then. That's as far as we know about the Office of the Dead, because that's when they started the labeling everyone who was that was considered dead until they come forth and speak as a living. Everyone is considered dead. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And from that document, the ones that were doing business as coroners were working. They were working off of that document. And others, Dum Diversa, and some of those documents as well. Islam, Empress.
In addition to what all the Moors are stating, I recall that when we were in the social solid system, we were referred to as the saints. And when I looked that up, and I think we've discussed that before in this Congress, it refers to the dead as well.
Yes.
Islam.
Yes. So let's look up coroner.
Hey, Pauline, why aren't you out getting your new Land Rover since you figured everything out last Thursday?
Islam.
I have a question regarding the Office of the Dead. So, if everything was corrupted and put back to front and in the...
Hey, you dumb bitch, didn't you record everything and go get your Land Rover, you fucking...
Go ahead, nobility.
So, that would suggest there was some office, there was something there for them to corrupt.
Yes, Empress, yes.
So, in that case, would it not behoove us to identify what that is? Now, I just looked up obit, and I'm sure it was covered last time, but obit, and this is not as old as I'd like it to be, but late 14th, from medieval Latin, Old French obit, directly from medieval Latin obitus, death, but a figurative use, literally a going down, a going to a place. It's a traveling to a different dimension, it's a transformation.
Yes.
And, noun use of past participle of Latin obire, to die, literally to go toward. So I'm just, and also when you say dead, what came into my head was Jed. It's a symbol, an Egyptian symbol. It's that it's like a pillar. And I hear the word dead. It's D-J-E-D. But the brain is sort of rolling while speaking here, but I just wonder, and it's shaped like a vertical pillar with horizontal lines at its top. But there's
Wow.
something speaking to me with regards to this office, and that it isn't necessarily a negative.
Mm.
So I'll yield now, but I just wanted to fling that out there because it came through me as it did, and just for more in the mix-up as
Yes.
we're doing here. So.
Yes, Empress. What you stated initially, also in affirmation of what you stated about, there had to be something there first for them to corrupt it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good thing always that was then corrupted and misspelled.
Yeah. Misspelled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Misspelled. Yeah. Misconjured. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Corona. See, they pronounce this word here at the top of the screen, corona. But what if you pronounce it coroner?
Well, and that you could. You really could. It's the same. The sound. It's still the crown.
It is still the crown. And that word is the root word of coroner.
Of coroner, exactly. In fact, as you state coroner, when you were speaking about, I saw corona.
Yes.
The corona, which really is the coroner, that whole pandemic, it's all the same thing.
Yes.
Because it's all about the crown, be that the crown, the people, yes, the head, the mind, the dead and the living. I mean, it's all of that.
Yes.
Look at all of Pauline's failures in the chat.
Yes.
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
We already ended the dead letter homonyms. So for the pronunciation is clear now because we did that spell.
Yeah.
Islam.
We ended the dead letter homonyms, and now what we're doing is again naming things properly, putting them in the proper place. It is important that we continue to speak. It is important that we continue to address things. It is important that we continue to, because it was our voice that was enacted as missing from the earth.
Yeah.
It was our voice that causes life to happen. And if we ever get to the place where we say, okay, we've done enough, we can just stop now. Oh, we never want to get there. We never want to get there. Because the way the matrix works is something's going to be there. Something's going to be there. It might as well be us. Because just
not
like
your Land Rover, your Land Rover not going to be there, Pauline.
Just like it states in the Holy Quran.
I thought you said I was going away in September, Pauline. I thought.
Just a moment. Okay. Our voice is actually.
I'm still here, Pauline. I thought I was going away in September.
Any other numbers? Any other numbers? Islam. Okay. So the ancestors, actually in the Holy Quran, magistrate and subject talks about when we're ruling, the people rejoice because we rule honorably, and everyone prospers as we continue to govern and to rule. And so we're going to continue to speak, and this is actually one of the things that the ancestors have said, do something about it. Speak to it. Speak to it and then watch what happens. Speak to it and then see. See the salvation of the words that we speak and that we all agree on. So, Coroner, the crown, in the last era, and just think about this, Morris, and this is to the question that Noble Phoenix talked about, brought up. So Noble Phoenix, you just have a way with questions that I just love, because you really, what do they call it? Split the hairs, and I love when the hairs are split and things are actually laid out like that. Everything was backwards. At birth, birth was called death, and then death was called birth. Okay, so they would say you're born again, or you're going in, once you're born again, you go into heaven when you die. You know, and for us, it is it is important that we state exactly what we want, not want, what we will to happen on our own land. So look at some of these coroner in old records to give the tonsure which was done on the crown or in the form of a crown to make a man a priest. To make a man a priest.
Which means man was not originally free.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you have to make something be something, it wasn't something. It wasn't that in the beginning.
Right. And Empress, that's actually way affirmation for why we keep speaking. We speak because God must speak to make things appear and to make things manifest. Because it wasn't there before. That last era and those enactments from the last era wasn't even real. That's why we have to keep speaking. And then look at this where it says coronation.
Coronation.
Yes, it is but a royal ornament and solemnized of the royal descent, but no part of the title. So when you saw someone pretending to be a king and they had a fake gold crown put on their head, that was no part of the title. That was no part of the title of king. That didn't make anyone a king. But we stated that already. That doesn't make you a king. Bloodline and birthright makes you a king. And then it says here, and this is important, by the laws of England, there can be no interregnum. Interregnum is when supposedly, quote, and this is why we know that this never happened, but supposedly interregnum is where government takes a break and they're suspended. The ability to govern is suspended. That's never happened. Islam, Empress.
Is that not what it was said was in the de facto other era, that was what happened, why things were as they were?
Yeah, there was an enactment that we had gone to sleep, and that the actors started acting things out.
Right.
We've never been in interregnum. Never been in interregnum. We've always governed. Think about it, Morris. Even in your sleep, your signature was making things happen, and we didn't know why.
Exactly.
Why it would make these things happen, but it didn't make these things happen. coronation, oath. Again, we're talking about the office for the dead. We're talking about the office for the dead being a coroner, but none of this stuff talks about death. None of it talks about, so why is he called a coroner? Why? Because he was in, that was upside down anyway. And then when someone realized that it was upside down, they changed that office from the office of the coroner to the medical examiner. Medical examiner is now you're talking about somebody's alive and you're examining them. Is that not backwards?
Completely.
And so, you know, when I look in this dictionary, I always look for this word right here. Who was the spell man on that one?
Empress? Islam.
Islam.
I don't see anything on the screen. I'm assuming it's my computer. I'm going to pop out and come back in, but could you
yes.
And do that?
Yes, Empress, I will do that. Islam. Can you all see what's on the screen as well?
Yes, it's clear. It's here.
Okay, Islam. Noble Phoenix.
Yes.
Does that shed a little more light on the fact that everything was upside down in the last era and they had everything wrong?
It does when you start looking at the definitions of these things that we took for granted. It certainly makes, you know, some room for plausible affirmation, not denouncing or deniability. It's just the opposite, because I don't know. I always knew that from my teachings early on that the birth certificate that they gave you was actually you being put to death in their system as a person, all capital, as a corpse. I understood that, but I never gave too much thought to the relationship between the medical examiner, the coroner, and their roles in this whole scheme. So it's good that we're going over that so that we can get a complete picture. Even though it's the past era, we still need to understand what happened so that we do not allow it to ever happen again.
Go get a Range Rover, Phoenix. Where's your free Range Rover?
That show up, we already know their corpse, where they belong, et cetera, and that, you know, we have no dealings with them.
Right.
So, you know, that's the important thing.
Right. Islam.
Yeah. In the previous era, I'm sorry, there's an echo. Let me turn it off.
Let me see. And then also,
in the previous era, I can recall moments where I just couldn't figure it out. I knew, and I've even stated in the previous era, the world seems backwards. I just, you know, there were
in the previous era, Pauline didn't get a.
I just could not figure out how to straighten it out. And this is going to sound silly, but I thought it had something to do with me being left-handed. I just couldn't figure it out. But now
you didn't get one in this area either.
That's funny, Empress. Wow. You know, I can honor the fact that you knew it had something to do with you. And I'm glad that there's clarity on what that something is. Yeah. It definitely had something to do with all of us. And now we know why.
Yes, Islam.
Islam.
Yes, I was thinking it's certain keys that they like what Tajiri Bay was speaking on about who's that, the Clearfield, no, not the Clearfield doctrine, the Lincoln's time. What was the name of that doctrine with Lincoln and who was that?
Dungy, William Dungy, the Dungy case.
Dungy, yeah, William Dungy case. You see, a lot of people in our sleep they sort of did a good job on hiding the history of the Moors, the word itself.
Yeah.
But when you go back to William Dungy, it takes you back. That's the 1800s where Lincoln, before he was president, had this case, and he defended him and said, my client is not a Negro, even though it was a crime to be a Negro back then. That alone should be a key to people that it was a crime to be, and my client is a Moor, and things like that. And plus, when it comes to the doctrine of discovery, and especially today when you speak on the subject more, they say the Europeans, the colonizers, they're good at saying things to us that puts us, it's a spell casting. They say things like, the Moors don't exist anymore. So it's like all part of trying to put us in a dead state, trying to kill it. It was always, that's part of the spell, the sleep. That's something that worked good on a lot of us when we were asleep.
Yeah.
But thanks to the keys, we was able to see through it, and it's a lot of other things that help to understand the dead. And plus, we as the ancient ones, we didn't promote dead. We saw ourselves as spirit beings having a physical experience. So
yes.
Dead didn't matter much because we weren't too attached to this physical anyway. So what they thought they were killing, they could never kill. They couldn't even see or touch it.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we speak it today.
Yeah.
If it worked, we wouldn't be speaking. It's definitely a blessing to understand and understand where we are today, man. Because it's only a few.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. Yeah, Islam.
Islam, thank you for that, nobility. What we did was we came here and we ruled and had dominion over everything, and then we went somewhere else and did the same thing. See, even on the other planes, we govern and rule. But then something happened on this plane that said, okay, Moors, when you go down there, now you're going to have to govern it, really, really govern, because there's been something that happened. Things got supposedly turned upside down in the enactment. And they said, you have to go down, make man in your image and after your likeness, and give man dominion over the earth. And when you give man dominion over everything, every living thing, not every dead thing, so then the coroner has to go back to crowning in reality. So for us, the crown is given through by way of the Stargate, the mother. The crown is given by the mother, and then we make a pronouncement of that crown by creating our own birth certificate and our own legal long form birth affidavits, living birth affidavits. So then we become the crowner once again. Mother, matriarchs, and fathers, we become the crowners once again, indeed. Islam Empress.
And as you say that, okay, hang on, that's me now. I have an echo. As you say that, and I made the comment that it was back to front and the funny mirror. When you make that statement, the Stargate, the crowning, because one has to crown to come into being here, to come out in this plane. So it's the actual, you just stated what it was in the beginning.
Yes.
That, so,
yes.
Yes, that you just pulled it, switched the mirror around, and it's very clear.
Yes, Empress, yes. Boy, that funny mirror is no more when we speak. It's no more when we speak and know who we are.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, now that we know who we are, it is no longer a funny mirror. I mean, it's
yes.
It's no longer, if it's reflecting the truth. or you see straight through it. I mean, it's just not funny anymore.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm looking at this definition for coroner. And I will say this, those who know who we are knew to call the transition corona. They knew to call it that. Empress Camilla, we love that you're here. She put something in the chat that she loves this Congress. I'm looking at this definition, the name of an ancient officer of the common law, whose office and functions are continued in modern English and American administration. The coroner is an officer belonging to each county and is charged with duties both judicial and ministerial, but chiefly judicial. It is his special province and duty. Province it means the land and his jurisdiction, to make inquiry into the causes and circumstances of any death happening within his territory, which occurs through violence or suddenly and with marks of suspicion. This examination, called the coroner's inquest, is held with a jury of proper persons, in propria persona sui juris. Where is that at? Where are we? We're here. Upon view of the dead body. That means that you can't do it if you're not in proper person.
Not only that, but where's the jury at?
That I was going to say, which explains
what jury?
Why Iris, my consort, who was murdered, there's no coroner, there's no, all of this did not happen because it could not happen, as much as they would facto and the fraud and everything else, but they could
Wine. You're always a victim, Shasha. You poor bitch. Poor Shasha. Always
the moment. Go ahead, Empress.
They could not even enact that part.
Yes.
They couldn't even enact it.
Yes, because the real coroner was there, the real crown was there. Right. You're the real crown. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Let's just put that right where it belongs. In England, another branch of his judicial office, now listen to this because this is about commerce, is to inquire concerning shipwrecks and certifying whether wreck or not and who is in possession of the goods. Now you're talking sheriffs.
Yes.
Because it's county coroner and county sheriff.
Yep.
Come on now. And that's why.
And the question becomes, what determines what is considered a shipwreck on land?
Yes.
What the hell is a shipwreck on land?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. Now, check this out, too. When we talk about...
Well, you know what a train wreck is? It's Pauline's fucking phone calls.
Oh, haters. Don't hate. Don't hate. Just one moment. Let me clear the chat also while we're at it. You said something about jury. Where was the jury? Let me tell you where the jury was. When someone passed away, they were always asked, what happened? That's the jury, without even knowing that they're testifying to the death of someone in their enactment. The jury is anyone, peers, a jury of peers. And let me say that the word peers is twofold. Peer means to look and see, to look over something, and you peer and you see. That's why it's a jury of peers. That means someone who saw. And so the jury of peers, that's why the coroner and everyone, there's a spot on the quote-unquote death certificate for witnesses. A witness must sign it. But you know what? None of us, in the enactment last time, none of us got to sign that and say, we know why they're dead. None of us got to sign that. We couldn't because we were alive. We didn't know it, but we were alive still. The other dead had to sign that and say, yep, they're just like us. That's what they had to say. So when sheriffs were coming, quote unquote, and again, we know they're not real sheriffs. When sheriffs were coming, actors pretending to be sheriffs were coming to domiciles, they were declaring whoever it was, they're dead. And saying, this place is abandoned. That's what was happening when evictions happened. And that's why the documentation and all that we've done is so important. They can't even see the living until we do what we've done, which is state for the record, yes, we're the living. No, we're not under your authority. You are under our authority. And in fact, you're not even dead. You're a living subject. How about that? All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. They even get to live under our sovereign authority. All offices. So now we will do something with the office for the dead, or office of the dead. And I find it interesting that they call it the office for the dead instead of the office of the dead. Why is that? When every other office was saying office of this and office of that.
Because it was the only one they actually could.
Yes.
Could actually be in, because they're dead.
Yes. Yes. So they named that one correctly for them.
Well, exactly.
For them. And then looking at this definition of coroner, continuing on here, it says, and who is in possession of the goods, and also to inquire concerning treasure trove, who were the finders of the treasure trove, where it is, and whether anyone can be suspected of having found and concealed a treasure. And you know, you got to look those words up to know that all they're saying is there anyone of their status, the dead status, who's found it? If so, they're going to take over anyway. It says, it belongs to the ministerial office of the coroner to serve writs and other process, and generally to discharge the duties of the sheriff in case of the incapacity of that officer or a vacancy in his office. So here's what's been going on in the last era's enactments. All duties of all offices were being discharged as if no one was there and someone had to come and discharge the duties. That's what was going on in the last era that we've corrected and fixed and stated properly, rather. We stated it properly. So it indeed, Islam. It says here, on the office and functions of coroners, see further Cox v. Royal Tribe, etc. Now look here, coroner's court. In England, a tribunal of record where a coroner holds his inquiries, not his trials, not his court cases, none of that. It's an inquiry. Again, we're describing the office of the dead in the last era, which is now the office for the living in this era, as we continue to speak about it and put the vote on the record as to what this office does. Coroner's inquest and inquisition. Remember, the Inquisition Revenue Service, that was a coroner's inquest. An inquisition or examination into the causes and circumstances of any death happening by violence or other suspicion or under suspicious conditions within his territory, held by the coroner with the assistance of a jury. The jury, listen, there were fake sheriffs pretending to be the jury. Let's just put it out there. That's where the jury was. And then if anyone at the scene of the death agreed with them or signed their paper, they became part of the jury also and witnesses to the case in the enactment. So this is shipwrecks. We are not lost at sea, because that's what a shipwreck is all about. We're not lost at sea, we are on the land. And all of the commerce that we do is on the water. Not lost at sea, but it's on the water. And why do we say that? Why do we say it's on the water and not lost at sea? This is why. Habakkuk 2:14 in the Biblios talks about when the Lords appear. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. Lord is in all capital letters because they're talking about commerce. As the waters cover the sea. That is our commercial, what we do commercially. As the waters cover the sea. You can't be lost at sea if you're in the water instead of in the sea.
Correction. As the water covers the sea.
Yes, as the.
You said of the water covers the sea. It's actually as the water.
Apologies, I meant as the waters cover the sea. Thank you, nobility.
But it changes the meaning. So that's
yes,
why
it does. Yes, it does. Thank you for that. Thank you. As the waters cover the sea. Now, that's going to bring us right on back around. Now, remember this as we speak, as we move along in subject matter. Just remember this. Now, let's move along in subject matter after we vote on obit. Let's vote on obit, and then we'll go back to Habakkuk 2:14 to continue in our subject matter. So the word obit, office for the dead. I wrote this out for us to just think about and vote on. It says, this Congress does hereby state that the office for the dead shall only accept those actively, knowingly willing to die. All who are willing to live shall live. That was, instead of just ditching the office altogether, as we continue to take dominion over all, because we have it, we're just stating it on the record. Are you in agreement with this, or is there a better way you think that we can state this in this Congress?
I'm just going to say, from just looking at that initially, there is not clarity in what is being stated there.
Okay.
when you first said that, there was nothing clear that was being stated to me there. So that tells me either I'm misunderstanding what you're trying to communicate, or what you are communicating is just not hitting home. What are
okay? Okay. So because we are the heads for all offices, and because we have the power of life and death in our tongues, in our pen, in all that we do, the office for the dead, this is what I'm asserting. I'm asserting that the office for the dead should only be an office that accepts those who actively, knowingly, willingly want to die. Because there are some who don't. For example, our brothers and sisters who are shot by those acting as policy enforcers in the last era. They ran because they did not want to die.
So you're saying that someone who was murdered in their sleep didn't knowingly, willingly die, but this office of the dead does not apply to that situation?
I'm saying nunc pro tunc, actually. And I know that might be a little bit confusing to some, because they will want to know, well, are all those people going to come back to life?
That's not what I was thinking. I'm just thinking in terms of how is this affecting the coroner's office, or what the person holding the office of obit in the coroner's position, how does that change anything that they're doing?
They won't see, because they won't see anyone, they will not see anyone there who did not actively, knowingly will to die. They won't see them.
And again, then the question becomes, who's making that determination?
We are.
As to, okay, so, but how are we going to be on the scene? You understand what I'm saying? To enforce that. How are we going to, this is all well and good, but in practical purposes, all right, for enforcement, or for, what's the word for it? Expediting something, or making it happen, and overseeing it. How are we going to be there? What are we getting at here?
Okay.
I'm missing something.
Yes.
What is our point in doing this?
The point in doing it, first and foremost, before any enforcement, before anything happens, we put the law on the record. We speak it first. That's what we're doing today, speaking it onto the record first. Just like we've done everything else, and you see what's happening now. Everything is in alignment with things we stated years ago. And so our job is to speak it onto the record first, and then, as we go, continue to govern it. In the beginning was the Word. So let the Word be. The Word was with God, and the Word was God, or is God, actually, for us.
I'm in agreement on that.
Yes.
But again, the question becomes still that I'm not clearly seeing the answer for.
How
what
that manifests.
Literally changes. So please continue with that part of it. What is it literally going to change for the better, for the awakening state that the rest of us are in? What is this going to change?
So it is going to change who gets to pronounce what coroners pronounce. Who gets to do that? We do. All we're doing is taking our seat and our throne and our place over that office. That's what we're doing now. Now, how that manifests in the long run, we're going to do it like we've done everything else. In the long run, the ancestors will bring things to us and say, okay, this is something that you can add to the office for the dead, so that you'll see how it manifests. Because we get to say how it manifests also. We may not see the whole way far down the way what it's going to look like when as it continues to mature. We just know that right now we have the authority to speak where that office is concerned, and that is our job, is to govern the offices, all of them. So we're going to start where we start, and then the ancestors will show us what to do next and what to do next, what to do next. And as they show us, we'll continue to put the word on the public record, and then we'll enforce it. Yes, Empress Camilla says word first. Indeed. I know how powerful our word is. I also know that it is up to us to take full and complete dominion over all offices right now. As the ancestors bring it forth, no matter what it is, we're to take dominion over it. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what it looked like in the past era. Our job is to have dominion over all. And that starts with putting the law on the record for that. And think about this too, Noble Phoenix and those others, because what you're stating is so valid. When the people that were previously enacting to be the legislators would put a bill forth, they would first put the bill on the record, then they would vote for the bill, and sometimes it would be 2 or 3 years later when the bill would funnel its way down through the budgets and then make its way into a code or a statute, and then people would enforce it some years later. What we're doing is speaking it onto the record, and I can say that it's not taking years for the things that we state on the record to manifest, because it's just not taking that long anymore, even though it did previously. So we will start with putting it on the record, and then as we continue to govern, we will know how it will affect, and we know how it's going to affect things. We know that. The ultimate goal is to do away with the dead. Now remember, Noble Phoenix, the dead is not just somebody you see laying in a casket. The dead is those who were using dead letter homonyms thinking that we were dead. That dead.
Right.
It's about status and position, Islam nobility.
Yeah, I was thinking that makes a lot of sense, because the simple fact that when you go into a courtroom and you need an attorney, is like, they all see you as the dead. I mean, you can't speak for yourself. You're a minor, and no matter what age you are, you're a minor. So that right there is points of bringing forth that we are the living, and they seem to, when it comes to us, it's like they're in a different dimension. They suffer from dementia, and it's like they're in a whole different dimension, I realize. So we have to do things like this to let the world know that we're the living, and we don't. I mean, we don't speak it, and they won't ever feel it or see it. We see it, but they'll never. We have to bring it to the open, because it's part of being the living. We're the living, and we're not the dead. You know, so there's lots of reasons for letting the world know that we're the living, and that's the only way, because everything they do is they don't recognize the living. You don't exist. I've noticed. I've made examples with going and putting all the Supreme Court judges. I just decided to do it. I put liens on them, and they've put notices in the public paper and all about me. For weeks they've been talking about it, but they never talked to me, never came to me. But they attack someone who's close to me, like my fiance, who has contracts with them. Mm-hmm. They came at her. So, and they still ignore me, the living, the one who, So it's all makes sense. I mean, they can't even see you. They can't talk to you. They won't even respond when you try to. I've tried to get some property, and what they did is I leaned and I put the levy and all that in place. And when I came to with the bond to put the the bond system in place, they wouldn't accept my mail, and then they got rid of the property before I can pay, come with the payment and all. So
That's
I'm like,
because they know that you still think that they're real. Because you're dealing with them and talking to them as if they can do something about your documentation when they can't. They're dead. They're not living, but you're speaking to them as if they're alive. And that's a
but I've had threats. I've had threats from even like I've talked to the sheriff and
they haven't threatened you. They haven't threatened you. And so when you realize that they haven't threatened you, no, they have not threatened you. They're threatening their corpse, and you just keep answering and thinking that they're talking to you.
I haven't answered, except that they came to me personally and said, "Don't go toward that property. I'm gonna arrest you." They didn't even know me. They didn't even know who my name is. I said, "Yo, I talked with your commanding officer, the sheriff, and I've already, discussed that with your heads." They still was emotional and all out of irate, and they don't even know me. So I'm like, it's they don't seem to take.
Okay, so. We want to stay on topic, but let me just say this. You must know that they're not talking to you. You got to know the difference between them talking to their corpse and them speaking to you. They didn't arrest you because they know that they're talking to their corpse and not to you. Okay? Right. That's why. See, they already know our science, but you must know it. And I can actually hear in the things that you're saying that there's still a little bit, you still need to delineate between their corpse and you, the living. You must know that you're the living and that they don't have the authority to even speak to you. Okay? Right. So now let's get back to what we're stating here about the Office for the Dead. That right there, that statement, the statements that you just made is exactly why we're doing what we're doing. So that when you speak, no one will pretend to be an office that they're not. The actors, they're actors, but the actors are sons at it. And that's what this is all about as well. Islam, Empress.
Islam. Is this including the ones that do the birth certificates?
Yes, because we do our own birth certificates.
Okay, Islam.
Yes. And our responsibility to our heirs and to our estate is to continue to do the documentation, continue to do the birth certificates and the birth affidavits and all of that.
And that will make us living.
We make us living, yes. Indeed, yes, indeed, Empress. Yes. Islam, Empress.
And again, thinking again on this, the coroner's office, the office for the dead, we don't die.
We don't. So what good is the office?
Really no need. It really is. It's the office for the living.
Yes.
It is. I mean, that. Even as I say, there's that sound, the jed, there's the symbol, it's sound, it's similar. Yes. But, and in that last era, as you stated earlier, it talked about, the jury of the peers and the witness and all of those things. We did not get to declare the reasons for the demise or the transitioning of our people.
Yes.
So its purpose in its corrupt state there was really to continue to claim the living as the dead. Really and truly.
And that was at birth and at death.
Exactly, because when they declare you dead at birth, and then you're living, moving around, living your life. And then, remember, the coroner's office is for suspicious deaths or sudden deaths. So right off the bat,
yes,
these people didn't want to be dying or didn't want to be dead. Even those who commit suicide and I use inverted commas, typically are crying out. They don't want to be dead, really. Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't die. We don't have dead. So it's always been the office for the living. Because even when breath is no longer, when spirit has left the body, we're still not dead.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. We close our eyes on this dimension and open them at a different dimension.
That's right. Transformation.
And you know what that means? That means that death is temporary.
Exactly, because it's just there's that moment when the spirit leaves and the body's there, but on to somewhere else, something else, a different plane, a different level, a different experience. And
that's that whole changed in the moment, in a twinkling of an eye. That's what that is.
Yeah.
But we don't have to succumb to that. We don't have to affirm that. You know?
Once upon a time, we decided when we were going.
Yes.
Transition.
Yes.
We made that decision.
Yes. Yeah. And now is the time to make whatever decision we choose regarding that.
We're taking back dominion over those decisions.
Yes. 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 We've been stating that we live forever. We affirm that on the record. Right. For the record and letting the record show. At all dimensions. So there's another side to this that is a little more morbid, but I know that the reason that side keeps presenting itself to me is because we can do something about it. There is a place in the Biblios, and I'll just mention this because we're speaking to it. There's a place in the Biblios that before the last 400 years happened, we did literally in these bodies live forever. And they talk about some ancients being chained in a chamber in the earth. And those ancients are ancients that could not die. They couldn't die. But because of all of the things that have happened, the enactments, they had to go there. Empress Camille says she remembers that in the chat. Islam Empress.
It just occurred to me, taking away this office removes the assumption and presumption of any dead.
We are going to just rename it. We're going to name it properly as the office for the living.
Well, that still is the process of getting rid of the assumption and the presumption, because when we rename this, we take away the corporate dead letter homonym, and we put the living, right? And then that enacts. No, that doesn't like that. That begins the process of removing any other, remnants of the dead assumption and presumption when it comes to anything.
Yes.
Like when babies are born, if somebody was to have an accident and need medical assistance, and the DNR.
Yes.
And all the other things that are associated with that office.
To include when Moors go to courts.
That part, yes, that part. They no longer assumed presumption, because remember we had went over that document and we learned that the coroner was in the true one that was the overarching for all of the things that they were doing. Yeah. So when we removed that title, then they don't have any more assumptions and presumptions for anything like that.
They don't have any more
assumptions and presumptions.
Right.
For the dead.
Right.
This one.
That part. That is the point for us is that the more that our bloodline and birthright, that no matter where they go, they are automatically known to be the living by all systems. And to me, that is what matters. Islam, nobility.
That just brought up a question in my mind. Is this in any way going to open the door for I don't think we really need. I'm answering my question as I'm asking it at the same time. But literally, I'm just thinking. So, in their capacity, in their system, their world of the dead, if they don't have any evidence, or the evidence says that you're still alive, shouldn't we be able to generate or have them, testify that that being is not dead in their system?
So let me answer that by saying this.
But
let me answer it by saying this: stop honoring their system. Just don't acknowledge that it's their system, because it's not. It's ours.
Okay. So for our system, then.
Yes.
We put all this evidence onto the record that I'm stating I'm alive. I have witnesses I'm alive. And I'm also going to have the office of coroner pronounce me alive, because he has no evidence that I'm dead when I went and met with him, and he saw that I'm living, breathing, and I've still got, everything, my spirit inside of me, okay, that's animating this vessel that I'm in.
Well, Noble Phoenix, you have to be careful when you say you're going to a coroner and he sees that you're alive. Then you're still going to the dead when you should be pronouncing you alive. And you can use coroner's letterhead, county coroner's letterhead stating that you're alive. You do that, not anyone outside of you. I will put King County coroner documentation together stating that I'm alive in a heartbeat on the letterhead.
Yeah. Have you done a class on just finding all their letterhead and stuff like that? Did you do that already?
I did. This is how we do it out, and I'll do it really quickly and simply here, because we want to get back to this part too. Yeah. But really quickly, this is what I did. What I did when I was originally starting to do the letterheads and all of that stuff, I would go to Google. I would go to King County website, any of them, tax assessor. Let's just, you know what? Let's go to the coroner website if they have one. And, we know that they're not real. That's why we have to do what we're doing. So there's a seal right here. There's a seal. And there is also this up here in this corner, King County. So what I would do, and I'll just do it right here on this documentation. This is how I make the letterhead. What I do is I take this seal, collect it up, put it into edit, because we always change it. See, it's a dead seal right now because it's black with capital letters and it's black, black like that. So what we do is we just take it into Paint 3D. That's how we do it. Some people said that they can do this in Word. And then what we do, here, let me share this with you. Just a moment. Just a moment. Okay, let me show you how we do that. Okay, can you see the app on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what we would do is take and put it on the holy altar and alter it. And bring life to it. Put the blood on it. You see how it's changing? It's coming to life because the blood is being put there. And then put this at the top of the letterhead, because as we put it on the public record, we're trademarking it at the same time. Because remember, we have the superior lien on the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office, quote, U.S. and any derivatives thereof. So this means that this is not their seal, it's now our seal. And because we are, just one moment. Let me just put this out here. So now that we've made this, and we may even do a little something like putting some blue here, you know, or putting some gold on it, making this part gold. You know, and I'm just doing this for the sake of this. And then what we do is we take that we have restated, and we put it on the top of the letterhead. Let's get some new letterhead up here. Just a moment. Let me show you how this. So now, let me get some letterhead up here. And then we put that at the top of the letterhead. Center it. And then we state, just a moment. Let's put this in red. And I'll just do a quick one. I usually use Times New Roman as my
font. Your default
as
font.
my font. And font that word is short for fountain. That's why they used to call them fountain pens. A fountain is a river of living water. Out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute too, with regard to the Torrens system. So now that we have that, we'll say, okay, let's make the letters red also, or blue rather. We usually, when we do these documents, we do the lettering in blue. And here, let me make it a little bigger so you can see. Whoops, I keep doing it. Yeah. And we can, even though the thing says medical examiner, we can label the office the coroner's office. To all offices and persons, because we're talking to persons, living persons. Yes, to all offices and persons, because they're not holding any of our offices. We hold all of our offices now. There are subjects in our offices in some, in terms of subjects in the office of, but the office is ours, and we have all offices. This 17th day and when we say of, we mean September in the year for the Lord. That's all of us, 2023. That Pauline Denise Ritchie is pronounced living and is alive. That might sound redundant, but it's really not. Living and alive are two different words for a reason. Pronounced living. And we could have left it at pronounced living. The time for life is, and whatever time it is that the letter that the coroner pronounces me living is that time. So that will tell them when this was written. The time for life, or I could just do 1968, August 3rd, at birth. And then, let's see.
Continuing until today.
Oh, well, you know how we do, continuing eternally.
There you go.
That's and we don't use ancient English when we're doing our corporate documents, because this is kind of like what we call a corporate affidavit.
And you can acknowledge it as of a certain particular day.
Yes.
Acknowledged as of, say, whatever
office
is written.
Hereby acknowledges her living status or living state.
Yeah, they got no state.
Her living state and estate. This 17th, this day, and we'll say this day because we already said 17th day of September in the year for the Lord's 2023. And then what you do is you just go right on over here in the center and you say, with honor, and I didn't want to do it that way. Wait a minute, let me go back. Let me put that back over here and tab it over. With honor, There it is. And then what I do is just I sign it in blue because my nationality affidavit or the fiduciary affidavit will go with this. So this one I would sign in blue. And then I put the stamp and the seal on it because all of even our corporate documents, we put the gold stamp or the gold seal, and we also emboss our seal on here. And there you have it. This is how we restate everything. And for those who are worried about, oh, this is fraud because you took their seal, they don't have a seal. That's why it's black. And even according to copyright laws, if something is not the same color and the same, if it's not the same color, then the copyright is broken. So we don't, but we don't worry about that anyway because we hold the superior sovereign lien on all trademarks and copyrights and all of that. The dead don't have any rights. That's the point. So this is how we do that. And yes, you can be the coroner on your own pronouncement because your fiduciary document will say that you're sovereign, and you can do that. So any offices needed, they are not outside of you. They are within you. So this is what the Office for the Living is doing. This is what we do, all of us. We're all the Office for the Living. We can all do this at our territories. So whatever county it is that you govern, you can do this. And then what you do is you notify the subjects that were previously in that office that you are of this. So what I would do is take this, and since I did it, I might as well send it. Take this and put the fiduciary document with it, and then just send it to the subjects in the office of King County Superior Court, King County Sheriff's Office, King County Coroner or Medical Examiner, King County Tax Assessor, because remember, the dead was paying those taxes and stuff. So now it's the living, and we are not taxed. The living is not taxed. So Noble Phoenix, to your question of what is this going to do? What is the goal here? That's part of it right there. But even when it comes to our babies, we pronounce our babies living as well. This is what the Office for the Living does. And when we abolish the Office for the Dead, then they have no more pronouncement over us and over our property. Our property is even living because it has our nature. So, Noble Phoenix, does that assist with where we're going with all of this in terms of the living and the dead? And then any fake court, pretending court, you can send this to them.
With the same fiduciary document.
Yes. Those who are incarcerated, Moors, you can do this for them. Do it for them. Let's see. Please share verbiage to terminate subject from office after fiduciary appointment resignation completed. I'll need a little more information on exactly what it is you're speaking of, Nobility. So, the vote that we are about to take, and Noble Phoenix, I thank you so much because this assists me with better articulation to the Congress about our will as a nation, as a government, and what we are doing and what our will is.
You're very welcome.
Islam. So, are there any other questions before we vote to state that there is no office for the dead or of the dead. There's only the office for the living. The office for the living and the office of the living.
Islam, Travis Bay. Would this also go to probate, the probate court? Mostly.
Yes, indeed. It can go everywhere where there's someone trying to determine status, trying to name someone.
Islam.
I,
Rashid Asallah Bey from New York Territory, affirm and vote yes for this.
Islam. And again, we're voting to, and let me just state for the record exactly what the vote is for. It is we're voting to state that the office for the living is activated. And we're stating that, but it's been activated. It never was not activated. But again, our word must be on the public record. And that the office for the dead or of the dead, the office for the living is the office for life. And the office for the dead is no more.
Islam.
Ulysses Bay, Michigan Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Angelica Yvette Dobbs Bay, New York Territory. Islam, I affirm. Yay.
Islam.
Paramount Bay, Memphis, Tennessee Territory. I affirm. Could you increase the fund on the subject matter on the once you pull that back up? Islam.
Islam. It's been a new task from New York Territory, Great Seal. I definitely affirm on that.
Islam.
Rahim Allah Bey, New York Republic, Jamaica Territory, yay.
Islam. Justice Dumois, go ahead and put your vote on the record. I heard you stating your vote. Justice Dumois.
Yeah, I'll affirm.
Islam.
Chief Justice Aisha L. Bay, Michigan Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Blair Smith Bay, Mississippi Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
This is Kate Tum Ahidel, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
I affirm.
Islam, Justice Kansu. We hear you. Yes.
Islam.
There's a noble and an empress. Noble, go ahead. I think you spoke first.
Islam. Justice Malik Akil Bay, the Territories. I affirm.
Islam.
Sasha Nicole L., New York Territory, I affirm.
Islam, nobility.
Karima Bay at Virginia Republic, I affirm.
Islam.
Jamaica Territory, I affirm. Yay.
Islam.
Sarai Lee of Phoenix Shakur Bay, Colorado Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Akel Kanemba Easley L, Shaka Mexican Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
This is Ronnie L. Bay, Florida Territory, I affirm.
Islam. Empress, go ahead.
Islam. Tina Renee, Randall Bay, Bronx Territory, Land of Nod, I affirm.
Islam.
Chief Justice Rosalind Angela Wyndham of Khalifa Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Justice Cynthia Ann Bay, Khalifa Territory, I affirm.
Islam. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Needed.
Islam, nobility. Islam, thank you, nobility.
Justice Rosetta L. I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Chief Justice Noble Phoenix Mika Ill, Florida Territory, affirmed.
Islam.
Islam, Chief and Justice X-Ray Florida, Rulanda Flowers Territory, I affirm.
Islam, Justice. Thank you.
Islam.
Islam, Justice Darius L., Phoenix, Arizona, I affirm.
Islam, thank you, Justice.
Islam, Wainan Prince Bay, Canaan Land, affirm.
Islam, thank you, Empress. Chief Justice, why not?
Islam.
Islam.
Gloria Valichkovsky Bay, I affirm, yay.
Islam, thank you, Empress. Chief Justice Gloria.
All right there.
And thank you to those in the chat. Chief Justice Adrian Porter L. affirms in the chat. Let's see. And Chief Justice Howard, we heard your audible affirmation, your verbal affirmation, or spoken affirmation, rather. Chief Justice Earl affirms. Empress Camilla, Chief Justice Camilla affirms as well, Alabama Territory. Let's see, Subject Belinda Carter, Louisiana Territory affirms as well. And Carolyn, Empress Chief Justice Carolyn Linda Wiggins L. affirms as well. Did we get everyone? Oh, Justice Light Tajiri Bay, I affirm. Did we get everyone? Islam. Okay, now, oh boy, I am feeling the spirit. Wow. So, in alignment with the waters covering the sea, because the vote that we just took is that as well. We were speaking about the Torrens Act in our last Congress. So I would like to continue with regard to that, simply because there is so much there. Just a moment.
Islam, Empress.
Islam.
And that's what I was referring to, the email, because I sent you the restated that I had did. So you wouldn't mind taking a look. I would appreciate it, actually, too. Thank you.
I will look at it, indeed, Islam. But Empress, just know that I already know that it's what it should be.
Islam, that part.
When we write from our spirits, it's always going to be right. It cannot be wrong. Islam. So, Islam, Justice.
Okay, I did get the act. I downloaded. I read a few pages that it is. Me and my brother, we were looking to see if we could find this in the local federal registry, because I used to go to the law library a lot and find things in the federal register. Is that where we would find it in our prospective state, quote unquote, state territories, if you would?
Some states may not have a Torrens system. They may have just gone straight corporate.
So you said that it say, like for example, we could use the actual Torrens Act itself because it's a document. So we could, I was thinking about just go ahead and restate it and put the one that they drafted, the actors, on the public record, and just putting our minds together. We suggest that we could do that. If we can't find it in the Federal Register, for example, i.e., Florida's Federal Registry, Missouri's Federal Registry, or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So, however you choose to handle it, nobility, however you choose to handle it, just know that the Torrens system was a way that was previously used to get around the corporate statements about land. And so Torrens started with us initially anyway. Torrens, all it is an acknowledgement that we have the right to write about our land and put it on the public record and it be honored everywhere. That's what Torrens is, as opposed to a corporate system that the tax assessor kept. Torrens is above the tax assessor system. But I want to speak about the Torrens system. Let me see. Did I put that information? I want to show some things about the Torrens system. This is what it states in Black's Law Dictionary about the Torrens system. If you would, take a moment and look at that particular, just a moment. I'm going to put it in lecture mode for just a moment while we take a look at that. Just a moment. Just a moment. I did not announce, but I should announce that we did have a unanimous vote on the vote that we just took regarding that office, and for that we are grateful. So, Torrens title system, a system under which, upon the landowner's application, the court may, after appropriate proceedings, direct the issuance of a certificate of title. With exceptions, this certificate is conclusive as to applicant's estate in land. This system is so called, the author being Sir Robert Torrens. There's something that I would like to show you about that Torrens system. And it's better shown rather than just a moment here.
Isn't what Prophet Noble Ali did in the Torrens system?
Islam. Just a moment. Justice Phoenix, were you asking a question about the Torrens system?
Yes, I just wanted to know, isn't that what Prophet Noble Joe Ali used?
Yes.
Recording the land patent for us as Moors and our title to the land, it was done in the Torrens system?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's why what has been taking place is so important regarding the Torrens system. Did you have an opportunity to see the latest developments regarding the Torrens system here on the land? Noble Phoenix? Okay.
Islam.
So, Islam.
We did a quick search here, and we see a Torrens system in Virginia.
And you know, Empress, it's in all of the older jurisdictions. Virginia is an older jurisdiction. Yeah. And not only that, but when people were purchasing domiciles in Virginia, like where you are, Empress, they probably didn't mention it at all about putting any information about your title in the Torrens system. So as we showed in the last in our last meeting, just one moment, let me go back here. Oh, wow. Okay. So it looks as though Pierce County, which is the county next to King County, has done the same thing, Morris. So this is happening all over, particularly at this territory, where the Torrens system is eliminated. Here it is, right here. In other words, they're not pretending to issue titles to land here. It is decolonization, Justice Harrell. That's happening here majorly. And then what we do is we put our documentation on the public record, and it stands and is the law because it's issued by our courts. This is this is the result of leaning and all of that. It says here, in March 2022, the Washington legislature eliminated the Torrens system, also known as the Registered Land Title Act. Okay. Let's see. Properties will no longer be subject to Torrens registration. This doesn't affect the validity and priority of lien interest or ownership. Lien interest. Think about that, Morris. Lien and title, because we have definitely placed all that has to do with us on the public record. And then we did show you, where one of our liens for land that we had done here was already placed on the record, even by the subjects. Just a moment. So, all that we have stated and placed on the public record is absolutely what it should be. And we see everything happening in our favor. We see the things that we stated happening, manifesting. I want to show this definition. Maybe I can get it online instead of having to. Let me see if I can pull it up online. Let's see if we can
repossessions, evictions, foreclosures, repossessions.
Kind of pull that up and just look at it. Just one moment. Okay, I may end up having to take a photo of what it is I wanted to show you about Torrens. Let's see if we can get it here online first. Oh, and just wow, since we came here, it says we usually understand Webster's spelling reforms. That means that they changed the definitions as a purifying zeal for simplicity.
Islam, Empress? Can't hear you.
Islam, Empress, still can't hear you. No.
We saw you click it off of mute and then it went back on itself. Islam.
Can you hear me now?
Islam, yes, loud and clear. Yes.
You
say it again?
Oh, great. Okay. Yes. Okay. So as I was looking up Torrens, and remember, we talked about the waters as the waters cover the sea, for the earth shall be filled, and this is this time now where we're getting all of this knowledge and information about who we are. It's coming from within. And it says, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. You've been seeing a lot of flooding in what really was that old era. But I looked up torrent, Latin torrens. This is the participle of torrio, to parch. Torrens, a violent rushing stream of water or other fluid, a stream suddenly raised and running rapidly as down a precipice, as a torrent of lava, a violent or rapid stream, a strong current, as a torrent of vices and follies, a torrent of corruption. Erasmus, that great injured name, stemmed the wild torrent of a barbarous age. Whenever they talk about barbarous age, they're talking about the Moors, basically, essentially. Torrent, rolling or rushing in a rapid stream as waves of torrent fire. So again, Torrens system came in as pretending to be a replacement for the Moors putting title on the public record. And so when you talk about lost at sea and things of that nature, you're still talking about a faulty torrent system that had to now go away. And when we place our documents on the public record, it is a rushing stream of water or words. In the other part of this dictionary, it talks about a torrent being words. Okay, and I wanted to take a photo of it for you. Maybe I'll have it for you the next time. Hold for just.
Islam. Not to get off subject, but I missed some things in regards to the bond. I'm outside, pardon the outside here. I'm trying to find some place a little more quiet. I had a question in regards to the bond, the mother bond that was sent to all a while back, but the restated birth certificate bond, which we had done in our circle. We was trying to get some clarity in regards to sending that mother bond to our own internal revenue location. Just want to get an affirmation on that instead of sending that mother bond to where you sent yours. So, but you back up for a second, get some clarity on that, Islam. Thank you.
Is the question about whether to send the mother bond?
Yes. Are we all sending that mother bond to the same location, or do we send it to the internal revenue, to our prospective close local? For me, it would be Austin, Texas.
Yeah, you would send it to Austin, Texas then.
Thank you so much.
Islam.
That's affirmation.
Islam. Yes.
Islam.
Islam, Empress, nobility.
Yes, I had a question about the bond. I'm looking at the United States for America General Service. What's that? The living bond, big bond, action bond for the United States Postal Service. I know she was saying send it out to these locations like what's that? The district, the Supreme, Marshal, and Treasury, right? Now you had a lien on the Postal Service. I believe it was 40-something pages. And I was wondering, do I have to, would it be best if I get like all the, like in my area, the Pittsburgh area, do I have to get all the names, or can I use that affidavits that you've done?
You can just do it for the one and whoever it was that was acting as the head, which was, I think, Louis DeJoy is the name of the subject who was acting as the head. You don't have to do all the names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Islam. Yeah, we just showed that because that's, we were inspired to do it that way. But you can just do that because there has to be names on liens. We don't just lien a corporation. We have to name someone, who's acting as whatever they're acting as. So that's why we did that one. And then when we updated it and added a few thousand more names to it. And, the ancestors inspired us to do it that way. So we did it that way. And then we just wanted to put it on the public record. So when Torrens was enacted by the actors, that was something to kind of overtake in their enactment, overtaking the things that we had put on the public record previously, and then we went to sleep and stopped putting it on stop recording things, and we also enacted stopping telling our heirs that they should do the same for their domiciles and things. So that's what this is all about too, is our heirs must know how to do what we do as well. And they may be a little resistant just because, and I won't say they'll be a little resistant. I'm going to speak that they're going to be open and welcoming of the information. They're in transition just like everything else is in transition, but I know that our ancestors will give them the mind to do it as well as we continue putting the information on the public record. And so this was why it was named that. Really, it wasn't named at that after Sir someone, because there's no such person. It was named that because it was a water term. And where land is concerned, the Biblio says that the kingdom suffereth violence and the violent take it by force. That was before. That was their enactment before. We don't have to do it violently. We're the peaceful Torrens system. So we'll be talking more about the Torrens system, since it's no more bottom-read instruments will be presented regarding that. So what we're going to be doing is issuing certificates for title from our own living sovereign Article 3 courts. Okay. But I wanted to show you, that Torrens was about the sea and the waters and things of that nature, because that is those are commercial terms, and this was supposed to be kind of like the heavyweight system where land is concerned, because they weren't just issuing deeds or certificates for deeds. They were enacting, issuing certificates for title through this system to those that are not entitled to land. But again, we're remembering by looking at it. So this is very important that enactment has sunsetted. It is a sunset on the enactment, but that's because we're actually stating properly the titles. Islam. Are there any questions, comments, or wisdom about the Torrens system? I'm glad to see that Pierce County has followed suit and enacted placing that on the public record, that they've eliminated the bottom-read instrument system that they were enacting, because we've leaned them, and we're the head magistrates at Pierce County as well. We've put that on our documents, as well, our authority there.
Islam.
Islam.
Statement. Florida, as they call it, which is really the land of flowers, Peru, which I restated as that, the landmass. The mentality is like mixed nuts. You have multiple people from de facto, if you would, lands come here. After they rob the people of their estates, they come here to enjoy the vacation of it. Well, here, the vacation has ended. Disneyland, all of that. But the mentality of those who are still sitting in office who think they have power, which they don't. Okay, as I shared with you a while back to everybody, there's a 200-unit apartment complex. Now, I've done everything I was supposed to do. Lien, court action, default, sent where it's supposed to go, Washington, D.C.'s, their portal. Okay, just got the levy, so I've sent that off. But a lot of our delivery and parcels have been delayed or lost, right? So we, of course, had to do the lien, the court action on the United States Postal Service. Did that. They don't have an email here. They're hiding the email, so I have to physically go into, and a lot of us have to physically do our own hand delivery, which I'll be doing that tomorrow, mañana. So it's a little bit different here. The compliance is a little bit different. They're more resistant here. But some of them, because I'm boots on ground, I actually talk to some of these doing business as sheriffs, and younger ones are a little bit more open-minded. I teach them the law. So I said, I'll be up there to talk with Chris Noko, personally. He knows me. He knows the paperwork. It's sent to him, et cetera, et cetera. But, of course, Chris Noko, quote-unquote, doing business as sheriff, he doesn't want to come out and talk with me. Now,
he shouldn't. And you really shouldn't be talking to them.
I'm going to go up there because I need information. Because if I'm going to use the bond to pay their salary, I need to know their salary.
No.
So I can.
No. No.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
So you must continue the reprogramming of your mind, the transforming of your mind, to know that in their capacity, when you talk to them in their capacity as if they are who they are, then you're joining in the fraud. So you must continue working on reprogramming yourself so that you don't feel that you need to go talk to them. Because just think about it. If someone is belligerent to your authority, they're not. See, in their mind, they're just doing their job when they arrest and throw and evict and all of that. In their minds, they're not going to stop doing their job just because they like you. They're not. Because you're not giving them a paycheck yet. So going to talk to them, that's not a thing. We don't do it. Because when you speak to them, if you're not doing a court action on them, why are you talking to them? If you're not doing a court action on them and then giving commands, there's no reason to talk to them. Because no matter what you say, they're going to do what their commander tells them to do. I don't care how much they like you. It can be your own brothers and sisters. They're going to do their job until they know otherwise. And so the ones here, make no mistake about it. I've done 2 jail demonstrations previously and stood my ground. That's why it's being done, because I'm going to stand no matter what. And I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're claiming to be living next door to me. They will get a court action before I say anything to them. That's why it happens this way. Because I'm not looking in the funny mirror and talking to them like we're in the same jurisdiction, because we weren't. They were trying to prove that I was still in their jurisdiction when I'm the living. Why would I talk to them like I'm trying to gain an understanding with them? That's like going to a cemetery and trying to get an understanding with the corpses there. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I don't care how much they like you. It's not going to work. And they will tell you, look, brother, I just got to do my job. If they came to throw you out today, they would say, I'm just here because they told me I had to be here. They'll shrug their shoulders and look at you like that and say, now get on out. And so, again, that's not their fault that they're just doing their job. Because the living law has not spoken and replaced them. We must replace them.
Islam.
Because there's no being nice about it. There's no nice. Nice means what it means.
Right, stupid.
Yeah. Yes. And that's on both ends, nobility. That's on both ends. If I go down and think that I'm going to talk to the chief of police for City of Federal Way, No. But they do as commanded because they know who we are, because we've stated who we are and we're not afraid to be ourselves. Listen, we didn't care how long, we didn't care, we didn't care. We were going to stand. And that's how we have to, that's how we, the only way they will, that a conversation can be a cordial conversation is when we're in our proper status and knowing that we're giving commands. Otherwise, it's not. And that's the crazy part about the funny mirror is it looks so real. It looked real.
Yes. What we did was I had to craft up with the Sitman Dawood, of course, we crafted up the 6th Judicial Circuit Court, but from the juror. So after we crafted up, we sent the command. The command came from our Article 3 court to our 6th Judicial, what we crafted up, and I sent the command to them. I hand delivered it, walked right in the building, right in their corporate building. And I said, I have a hand delivery for your clerk.
Where did he?
From the, and it's interesting. It was a fantastic thing. I loved it. I said, I'm just a deliverer. I had to play, various hats. Oh, no problem. I said, which clerk? I said, I don't know which clerk. I'm just hand delivering something from the Chief Magistrate, 6th Judicial Court. So I crafted up the actual logo. I put it on the envelope. She said, what's the contents? I said, I have no idea. It's not my business. So I said, I need you to sign for us.
Let me say this. Do you know why she was asking questions? Because, see, they know what's happening. She was asking questions because she was interrogating. That's an interrogation. And when they ask which clerk, they already know none of them are clerks. See, they know this already. That's why we don't just sit and chitty chat with them, because they know what they know. They know war when they see war.
Absolutely.
So we don't chitty chat with them. Period.
So I had to do a Bruce Lee thing, if you would, right? Because again, here compared to where you are, it's a different animal of people here.
No, it is not. They will throw you in jail everywhere if you don't know who you are. It's not different. It's not different. It's not different. I'm just not going to talk to. It's not different. It is not. Ask the Moors here. It's not different.
Islam, Travis Bay. I affirm it ain't different, bro.
No, it is not different. Animal husbandry is animal husbandry no matter where you go. It's not different. And if we thought that it was different, it's not. That spirit is the same everywhere that it existed previously. It's not.
Well, bottom line was, after the command was written and given to them, to that clerk, from our clerk,
there is not a clerk.
Okay. Well, I'm only speaking
I'm just saying, and Justice, you know how enthused we get about this stuff. So don't take
all good
seriously.
Yeah, I'm not at all.
But they know that you still think they're a clerk.
Yeah, I know. I'll feed it a little ego, but I got what I needed to where it's supposed to go, and none of the sheriffs have come on the property at all. And then one day I'm walking outside early in the morning, and there are two of them there, and I walked up to them. I said, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, well, this and this and this and this and this." I said, "Well, you have no authority or jurisdiction on it. Leave." "Well, somebody call us here." Now, 90% of the people that live here on this apartment are Albions. They know nothing about nothing, even though I've chatted with them.
That's what you think.
Actually live there, right?
That's what you think. They know it better than you in some instances. They know. They're not stupid.
Yeah,
they know.
I'm boots on ground here. Nobody's here but me. I don't have a staff.
There are other Moors there. There are other Moors there too.
I don't know them. I'm in Pasco County. Ain't nobody look like us here. Nobody stands up here. I'm the only one here because I talk to our people here, and they don't know even what's going on, right? So the paleos, that they don't even know about the Constitution. They don't know that. I've interviewed these people, boots on ground.
And you expect them to tell the truth when they're living on your land? You expect them to tell the truth?
Well, they've been robbed. The rent is going up. They won't stand up. So I said, you guys want to stand? You can stand. You can use the Constitution to stand.
They're not going to do a thing until you do. They're not going to do anything.
I agree. I've done quite a bit as far as what I need to do. Levy, lien, the whole kaboom boom. So they have no authority, that quote unquote, that they're actually deputies and subjects now. So that's the verbiage I use as you gave us. So I use
they're not deputies. They're not deputies. They're not deputies.
They're subjects. Right. So we sent the command to the subjects and they complied to it. That's it.
Islam. Noble Howard, I put a link in the chat. I sent it directly to you. The link has some email addresses for various what we call cities in Florida. So I hope that's helpful. Islam.
You know, this is the thing even about Florida. There's a place in Florida called Port Richey, Florida. And they have something called the Pasco Correction something or other, Pasco Correction Center, Pasco Courts, West Pasco Courts or something of that nature at Port Richey, Florida. And we've demonstrated there where they had to let our sister go, period. And they let her go too. So it's no different.
Because sisters, that's where I'm at. I'm in Newport Richey, literally.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, we've demonstrated there, and let me tell you, it's the same. It's the same.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
And the thing is, when we actually appeared, because they sent the sister a Zoom meeting, we appeared and we just started doing court actions right there. We didn't even wait for them to say anything. We started doing our court actions and things of that nature. And they did what they normally do. They enact muting. Well, the only reason they do that is to see if you're going to continue. And like I told the sister, we're going to continue all the way to sentencing no matter what. And we did. And guess what? They let that sister go and didn't ever apprehend. They stopped looking for her. And then they put something in the newspaper saying that they caught whoever that was. And she called me laughing, saying, look, they took their corpse with them. Because they had published something in the newspaper there at Newport Richey, Florida, saying that they caught the one they was looking for, and her appellation is not a common appellation at all. They had it spelled like they would when they're using dead homonyms. They said that they have her in custody, and she called me laughing about that. I said, I told you they were not looking for her; they were looking for their corpse. That was at Newport Richey, and that was the West Pasco, which we're West Pasco, we're Newport Richey, ain't none of them, none of that. And when we came onto the call, we had on our white judges' robes, and the actors had on black ones, and we just so it's no different there than it is here in terms of we must stand in our sovereign status and be who we are. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
And not give them any titles at all. None. We have all the titles. All of them.
Absolutely. I'm giving everybody the short version, because if I explain it, I have to have my own Zoom meeting. I'm gonna tell you right now. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I shared this with you all a while back about the apartment complex. Right. It's been a lot that we've done. Me and Dawood and my brother. A lot.
We honor your work, by the way.
Islam. So I'm not alone.
No.
I've got the angels with me, and I have a staff, as Moses had a staff to defeat them. Islam. Thank you so much.
Islam.
Empress.
Noble Phoenix first, and then Empress Angel. Noble Phoenix, because I heard him say Islam first.
Yeah, before he leaves, I would like for him to look in the chat. I'm going to post my number in him, direct message to him. I would like to get in touch with him and Dawood, and I'd like to commune with you brothers and talk with you and see, how we can assist each other, okay? If he's willing.
Put the information in the chat, Nobility. You can inbox him.
Directly to him.
Justice Howard, which would be Justice Howard. Let me see, is it Justice Howard?
I don't see it.
Noble Howard, did you get the email addresses and the link?
He put his info in the chat, Noble Phoenix.
Okay. Let me look for it.
Yeah, Islam, I was just putting in my contact phone number again. And
I see it. There we go. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we were here. I am where I am. I wasn't intending on doing this. That's the last thing from my mind. And to the ancestors said, just take the apartment complex. And then Sister Light was sharing the information. Brother Dawood was sharing the information. So I studied it. I put it together because I know how to type.
Islam.
Pardon me, I'm outside. Let me get in somewhere where it's a little less noise here.
Islam, Empress Light, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Islam.
So, Morris, listen, one thing I love about Justice Howard is that they're active. Active Moors, like Prophet Noble Ali said. Active Moors, not passive, not sitting on the sidelines, but active. You don't have to have, active. I'll let that be what it is because it's truth.
Islam,
Empress Angel.
Okay, so regarding back to the Torrens Act that is lawfully restated, and the fraudulent, how I call apparatus of how things were being done is been aborted according to how I restated it. But when reading through the document, I noticed that they mentioned withdrawal, and it mentioned a certificate of withdrawal. And so to fill the void of something that was, I feel as though when doing the process of removing, because we spoke yesterday, and I've gone through the document extensively, right? So I've done quite a bit of research with certain words that they use, and so on and so forth. And so one of the things, I'm just going to read number 2. Upon the withdrawal, I restated it to the jure federal Moroccan government shall not charge for the acceptance for such. The acceptance for the withdrawal. I had surrender before, but then I remembered that might be a military term, so I'm Xing that out and just putting withdrawal. An issue a certificate for withdrawal. Record the withdrawal certificate and issue a lien levy judgment with a receipt for satisfaction associated and all other associated documents, instruments. Issue proper documentation to specified people and subjects for interest and fee schedule applied to new issuance for proper documentation. That's just a part of the 4-page document, actually, in letter form that I've restated from the former act. And this document is when restated properly, is a freeing document, because when we understand that what they were enacting and what it was pretending to do, and now we can, see the truth in what is for us to state our documents and how we do it on the public record. It's quite freeing, actually, and liberating, and how we can, catalog our documents and do everything desirable on the public record. And it's awesome. So
Indeed.
yes, I just wanted to state that was to do that certificate for withdrawal, because that's one thing. Yes, it was stated in many states without us knowledge and knowing that the Torrens system was overturned and repealed. So and it states in the one that I restated that at a particular time people had to do the withdrawal willingly, and if they didn't do it at a particular time, I think it was July 1st, they had up until July 1st. After that, the land was taken without their consent and put back into the proper. It was just taken out of the registry. It was removed, and we looked at that. The land management website, and all the property except for where Washington has restated it properly, everything is removed, and that's because of the Torrens system and in fact is abolished. It's aborted. And that word we've talked about before in previous congressional meetings. So it's been aborted. Right? But we, the living, can restate it and use the system, as we know, and use our public record and institute the living record recording system. And so that part.
Islam, indeed. What they've been saying about the Torrens systems, again, they were never a Torrens system. We're the Torrens system. What we're stating here, they're saying withdrawing, they're issuing certificates of withdrawal. First and foremost, let me say that withdrawal is an intercourse word, and commerce is intercourse. And I'll leave that right there. Withdrawal. Now, look at what has been done. Anyone thinking that they were paying fiat to get a certificate of title, their fiat has been removed out from any systems. Just a moment. Out from any systems. So anyone who put money, quote unquote, fiat, and this is why fiat is not a thing, because at any time they can just wipe everything away and say, okay, even though you paid for that, it's no longer valid. It's no good. You have no case, no cause. And then to withdraw is to take away what has been enjoyed, to take from, to remove. Removal of money or securities from a bank or other place of deposit. And as you know, Torrens system is about paying a deposit for the certificate of title to land. That was the enactment. That means that they don't own the land either. When you talk about they use that term withdrawal for a reason, to take away what has been enjoyed. Because we've already properly proclaimed all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. And specifically here, we've done the claiming on the land, from our perspective, from our ancient status. So, to take away what has been enjoyed.
Then go move into First Avenue, Pauline. If you recorded it, go move into First Avenue.
That term, enjoyment, that term is a constitutional term also. That's a constitutional term also. So, from start to finish, what's being done is the enactments have sunsetted Moors, and all we're doing is standing and being ourselves and continuing to be ourselves with regard to that. Withdrawal, removal of, and so all of those payments, quote unquote, that were made in fiat for a Torrens listing has been taken, and still no remedy for those that were pretending to claim certificate of title. So Islam.
So if I may,
if you don't pay, they'll take it away. That includes your.
Go ahead.
If I may, in retrospect, meaning the past,
those
titles that they think they're going to use are really null and void, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And then and actually any of the states, Empress Rosetta, she put some good information in the chat. She said that 11 states, okay, and I'm so glad you put that there, because that opens the door to explain what we're stating. She says 11 states use the Torrens system to a greater or lesser extent. Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Virginia, and Washington. Now, Empress, do you know why it's those specific states? This is so good.
Why can't you show the cult members one thing that you've gotten out of all of this? Come on, prove to.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Noble Phoenix, do not let them pull you out of your nobility.
My apologies. I did not know my mic was open. I apologize.
Yes, it's open.
I'm with you there.
Yoo-hoo! Show the cult what you've actually gotten out of this, Colleen.
I'm going to assume because of the natural resources, specifically in those territories.
That's one of the reasons why, but the main reason why those specific states, think, Morris, just think about it. It happened in those specific states because those are the states. Where is Plymouth Rock? Where is Plymouth Rock? I'm just asking. Where is Plymouth Rock? Where are they saying that's what quote unquote state is that supposed to be located at?
Islam. It's the major energy centers.
That too. It's the port. It's that too. Yes. Yes. It's the ports. Yes. That's part of it also. And then also, those are the states where the boundaries for the rest of the states started being carved out of. See, those states right there are the ones where the boundaries, Oregon used to be Washington, all the way down to Khalifa territory used to be one land mass until they started carving things out. New York, same thing. It was a large swath of land.
Yes, we take New Jersey and parts of Pennsylvania, Islam. New York does land of Nod.
Yeah.
Tampa, the same way.
Yes. Yes. All of that. And then Virginia is where they came in and quote unquote that was where quote unquote King James and King Charles did their due at Virginia territory.
Oh, boys and Stan, why is it working? Why isn't it working?
They're mad. They're really mad, guys. So and we love them. They don't have to be mad about what's happening. They don't have to be mad. Islam.
Cena Randall's trying to get back in the call. She had an emergency call and she's locked out.
Islam.
Islam.
Thank you, Empress. So it was those because that's where all of the carving out and the port cities and all of that. Ohio is where the mounds were and all of that. So those cities hold special ancient, there's ancient that's where the first quote unquote settlers were coming in at. Okay. So with that being stated, it was always about the land and the Moors and our status. It was always about all of that. It was always about that.
Islam.
Can
I propose a vote just for the restatement of the Torrens Act?
Sure. Wait just a moment.
So with that stated,
who seconds the motion?
Aye. Riley, Afidi, Shakur Bay, Colorado Territory.
Islam. Okay. And what is that exactly is the vote, Empress? To restate the Torrens Act?
Yes, and make it law to be in the favor for the Moors, as we always do, and all people, including subjects, Islam, because I did state that, Islam.
Okay. Vote to the Torrens, the Torrens Act. Islam. Just one moment. Let me. Just a moment. Let me find that and. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. So vote to restate the Torrens Act and make it the law. All in favor of voting, all in favor of restating the Torrens Act? Islam, Justice.
Michael Dwabaki Bay, Mississippi Territory. Yay.
Islam.
Islam, Sasha Nicole Powell, New York Territory. I affirm.
Islam.
Rashid Asala Bay. I vote yay. Islam.
Consul Kadib Ang Bay, UK Territory. I vote yay.
Islam.
Bay, Michigan.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Territory. Yay.
Islam.
Travis Nabil, Bay, Michigan Territory. Yay.
Islam.
Karima Bay at Virginia Republic. Yay.
Islam.
Islam. Earl Julian Lloyd L. I affirm. Islam. Land of Tomorrow. Krypton Territory.
Islam.
Rahim Allah Bey, Islam, New York Territory, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Angelica Yvette South Bay, I affirm the vote.
Islam. Marquis Laverna Bay, Virginia Republic. I affirm.
Islam, Rosetta L, Khalifa Territory. I affirm.
Islam.
Chief Judge Aisha L. Bay, Michigan Territory. I affirm.
Islam.
Islam. Harold
Islam.
Mujib Bay, Memphis Territory, Memphis, Tennessee Territory. Yes.
Islam. Empress Cynthia, go ahead.
Islam. Justice Cynthia Bay, I affirm.
Islam, Chief Justice. This is Chief Justice Light Tajiri Bay. I affirm. Islam.
Islam, Wine and Prince, Skin and Land, I affirm.
Islam.
Through Land of Flowers Territory, Exreal, Florida, Howard Victor, Lloyd Hill, I affirm.
Islam.
Islam, Shasha and Bay, Micah Territory, I affirm.
Islam. Is there someone voting? Okay. Islam. That is a unanimous vote as well to restate the Torrens Act and make it the law. Islam. Done.
Oh, Islam, for the chat as well, Belinda Carter subject, Louisiana Territory, she affirms, and Caroline Linda Williams L. affirms as well as Gloria Bay Yay, Empress Camellia affirms, Yamaha Harris affirms yes. Islam. Gratitude.
And Empress Gloria, yes, Islam. Islam. It is so. Are there any other wisdom questions, comments, of affirmations from this amazing Congress?
Here.
Go ahead.
Islam.
Doris Barbara, Atlanta Territory, Georgia Territory, I affirm.
Islam. Thank you, Empress.
Thank you.
Any others? Any other votes?
Islam.
Islam.
Vote. I just want to say that Anna Jawiya Territory, which that's the original ancient title to
Islam.
the territory, not Georgia. I love Georgia. Love the people in that territory too. Islam.
Islam. Thank you for that wisdom, nobility. Anyone else? Any other? Islam. Okay. We will adjourn at this time until Thursday. Moors, listen. Please hear me when I say this. Everything that we have stated from when we first came together till now is now manifesting. It is now manifesting. So let's just keep moving forward, keep doing what we do, and it's manifesting much quicker than in times past. So for that, we're grateful. With that being stated, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs, and to this amazing Congress. Thank you so much. Peace.
Peace, grand rising.
Grand rising.
Islam, grand rising.
Islam, grand rising.
Sisters, brothers, nobles, empresses. Grand love y'all. Grand rising.
Grand rising, man.
Islam.
Islam.